Yo, what up? How's it going? And welcome back for another video. In today's video, I'll be going through all of the augments and telling you guys some of the best early game augments that I like to take in TFT Set 6. Now, I'm doing this on launch patch, so some of this stuff will change throughout the set, but in general, this is kind of like how I feel about some of the augments and which ones I like to take early game. Some rules before we get through the list is I'll be excluding all the augments that are trait focused, because that is just very situational on whether you should take them or not, or in the meta and stuff like that. So I won't be talking about that one. And if they have multiple tiers, I will only be talking about them once, because if they're good at tier 1, then they're probably going to be good throughout there. I'll be using Mobilytics to go through here. On Mobilytics, I have some of the augments in the wrong tier. That doesn't really matter because we're just going to go through all of them anyways. And yeah, we're going to get right into it. And if I seem kind of like a low energy Andy, I'm kind of pushing through a migraine right now. But we're gonna get this done. So I want to help you guys out through this, and I've been having a lot of success so far in this set. So let's just get into it. All right. One other thing is I'm not talking about augments that are necessarily give you board strength, just augments that are good to take as your first augment that I like to take as first. So let's do it. All right, Ascension is the first one we're going to talk about. Ascension is decent. It's not amazing. It's decent, but it's you take this if you have a really big front line. If you already know you have like a 2-star Darius or something like that, that can buy you a lot of time, and you have good frontline items. You know, if you know you're going to be able to stall a lot, this can be very, very, very strong. Very, very, very strong. Next one, binary airdrop. This one is pretty much always going to be good. Your units equipped with 2 items temporarily gain a random completed item at the start of combat. Very good. It's extremely good, especially if you're running scrap, because you can just get so many free items. It works on a component as well. So if you are playing scrap and let's say you do a completed item on Ezreal, then you do +1 component. Then whenever the round starts, you will get a completed item from scrap on Ezreal, and then you'll get a 3rd completed item from binary airdrop. So it's very cool. Just be careful. You can get extremely dizzy whenever you do this, because late game you will need to keep track of your items and then start switching people around. So just be careful getting dizzy later on in the game. Next one we're going to talk about is calculated loss. So calculated loss. Oh, built diff. I had built diff later on the list. I don't know how I missed it, but built diff is just really, really OP at all tiers. Very, very strong. I'm sure it'll be nerfed at some point because it is very strong on launch patch. But basically, you just run 2 stars whenever you play built diff. And if you have only built diff tier 1, you typically don't play around built diff the whole game. You kind of pivot out at stage 4, stage 5, just start running real synergies. Can be very strong. But yeah, cool. Okay, next one, calculated loss. So calculated loss, after losing combat, you gain 2 gold and a free shop refresh. That's basically 4 gold every time you have, or 4 gold's worth of value, not necessarily 4 gold, but every time you lose a round. Take this if you're very comfortable playing a weak early game, but just know if you're going to try to maximize this, you will need to spike on stage 3 and stage 4. So if you're not comfortable playing a strong mid game, then don't take this. But if you're comfortable playing weak early game and playing a strong mid game, then you can definitely take this, because you can't really just like lose early and mid game. That's just not really how the game's played. Cool. All right, next one we're going to do is Cybernetic. This one is always good. Where's Cybernetic? Oh, Cybernetic, always down here. Cybernetic is pretty much always good. Your unit's equipped with an item, 200 health, and 10 attack damage. It's especially good if you're playing scrap. Okay, cool. Dominance. After winning your combat, gain 1 bonus gold for every 2 surviving units. Extremely risky to take, but in the right circumstances can be good. You got to know if you're going to be strong. If you are already high rolling somehow before 1-4, then you can take this, but extremely risky. I don't really like to take this one, but there are some very niche circumstances this can be very, very, very strong. But you have to be able to create a really, really, really strong board. This is especially good if you're playing like below your elo. So for example, if you're like a diamond player and you start late into the season and you're playing against a bunch of gold players, something like that, then this is going to be very, very, very strong all the time, because you can and generally, you're going to be able to create a strong board. But yeah, can be really, really risky to take. Exiles, pretty much always going to be good. You gain a 35% bonus health, maximum health shield for 8 seconds at all tiers. This is a general one that you can just take if you don't know what to take. Always going to be good to utilize, and it'll be good the whole game. Cool. Featherweights. Your 1 and 2 cost units gain 35% movement speed and attack speed, or whatever percentage. Really strong in reroll. Or just use it to win early game can also be very strong as well. I really like taking featherweights. It creates a very unique playstyle. If you're able to play the playstyle, very, very, very strong. Cool. High-end shopping. I'm pretty sure high-end shopping is like a prismatic tier. I don't know why it's tier 1 on here, but whatever. It doesn't matter. You can take this. It's a little risky, but can be strong as you can hit 4 cost on stage 3. Today, I played against a guy who hit Yone 3 on level 7 because he had all this extra gold to roll because he didn't have to go to level 8. He ended up bot 4ing though. So just be really careful taking this one because if it is a prismatic tier, I'm pretty sure it is, you are down a prismatic augment. So just know that can be strong in the right circumstances, but it is a little risky. Okay, hyper roll. This one is broken. At the time of making this video, this one is broken. If you have less than 10 gold at the end of the round, you gain 2 gold. Broken. The reason why it's broken is because you have two choices. You can either just sit there and re-roll and actually hyper roll. Very good with Yordles. Or you can just push levels for free. I usually just push levels for free. I'm just like level 7 before everyone. I'm level 8 before everyone. And if my board's weak, I could just sit there and roll. You stay at under 10 gold. It's so easy to get board strength. This thing is OP. Broken. Okay, cool. Item grab bag. This one is always going to be good. Gain a random completed item and 1 reforger. Always strong. If I don't know what to take, I take this. Okay, cool. Pandora's box. Where is that thing? Where's that little? Okay, gain a random component, and at the start of each turn, items on your bench can be randomized. This is extremely good, especially if you know best in slot items on carries, because you can basically just get whatever item you want the whole game, and you can just keep completing items. Just be careful playing around it, and be careful getting dizzy, as if you forget to put your items on a unit, then they will get reforged. So just be careful of that. Phony frontline. This is one that's just always good. If you don't know what to take, it's always going to be good, especially if you're not hitting 2-star frontliners. If you haven't hit a 2-star frontliner yet, it can be very, very, very good just to get you through the early game, and scales throughout the game, and can create a unique playstyle to where you can play more of a backline focused comp. You know, if you're in a situation where 4 bodyguard might be good that game, and then you have phony frontline, maybe you run 2 bodyguard, you can run like 2 extra scholars, can buff your backline. So it gives you a lot of options, and is decently strong in the early game. Probably one of the best augments overall. Okay, salvage bin. Gain a random completed item. Selling champions. Break apart the full items and the components. This is always good, especially good if you know best in slot, because you can just keep kind of, you know, you don't get the reforge, but you can just build like an early game item, then you can sell. Really good if you know how to play around items very well. Okay, next one is the socialite one. Is it called socialite? Socialite's heart. This is the only one that is a trait focused one that I'm putting on here. Your team counts as having 1 additional socialite. Is always pretty decent if you don't know what to take, and can give you a lot of direction. So even if you don't know which hex is a socialite hex, it can give you a lot of direction, because, you know, maybe you have AD items and the socialite hex is on 2nd row. Well, that should tell you probably shouldn't play Jin because you already took this. Then you should probably play like Yone, or you should probably play Yone, Fiora, Urga. You know, people can kind of operate a little bit closer to the front line. So it can give you a lot of direction, and if you don't know what to take, can be pretty decent. Okay, and then I said built different, which we already talked about. Okay, cool. So small can be good, but that's just very, we're not talking about. I don't have weak spot on here, but weak spot can be decent if you already know you're going to play AD. Like you took AD items, or maybe you're like forcing AD, can be pretty decent actually, but it's not super strong early. Okay, tier 2. Tier 2, the first one we're going through is Junkyard. Wow, all the way down here. It's because we already talked about most of them because they're at tier 1 as well. Okay, Junkyard. This is every 3 combats with a scrap trait active, gain a random component. It says it's prismatic on here. It might be. I'm not too sure, but that doesn't matter. You just force scrap. If you get this at the very beginning of the game, you just force scrap, and you can just farm infinite items. Every 3 rounds, you gain a random component. And scrap is also a strong early game trait. So if you just force around scrap early game, just farm items as long as you can, and then pivot out of scrap when you feel you need to. Just make sure you don't pivot too late and get too dizzy. But farming items is really insane. So farming items is very strong. Okay, March of Progress. You gain 4 experience points per round. You can no longer use gold to gain experience points. This is very strong early game. It's not super great at any other points in the game. Can be situational as mid game, but if you take this at the very beginning of the game, you just get such a massive level and econ advantage over everyone else. So if you're really good at playing with a gold advantage, it's very strong. But just know you'll hit level 8 later than everyone else, and you will never get to level 9 unless you're in a very wacky game. You'll never get to level 9. So just know that. And especially good if you're willing to reroll around 2 cost and 3 cost. Not very good if you want to reroll 1 cost, unless you're just high rolling. You're able to do it because you will get to level 6 pretty fast. Yeah, but pretty strong. I really like it. Okay, Metabolic Accelerator. Your tactician moves faster and heals 2 health at the start of each round. This one is decent if you're willing to run a weak early game for econ. So if you want to run like an open fort style, if you're comfortable doing that, this can help you stay healthy while also generating a lot of econ. The only downside to it is that if you're running the open fort style, one of the benefits of open forting is that you can get better carousel priority. But if you're running this does hurt your carousel priority. So just be mindful of that, but can be decent if you are willing to run a weak early game and play with a gold advantage. I like this one as second augment more, but it is very good as first one. I took this as second augment and first place to game because of it today. Cool. All right, Rich Get Richer, gain 10 gold. Your maximum interest is increased to 7. Especially good if you already have a very high gold opener, like maybe you got like a 6 gold opener. It's very, very, very strong. This one I pretty much take every time I see it. It's OP if you are comfortable playing a weak early game and can play with a gold advantage. If you are not good at playing with a gold advantage and you really need to have a strong early game, that is gonna a lot of you guys who haven't learned how to play with a gold advantage. That's fine. Probably don't take this one then. But this one is very, very, very strong if you know how to play with a gold advantage. Okay, next one we have Sunfire Board is the next one we're going to be doing. So Sunfire Board, at the start of combat, burn all enemies for 20% of their maximum HP over 8 seconds and reduce healing by 50%. This one is decent if you don't know what to take, but it's better later on in the game. So it is better later on in the game, but this is pretty decent if you don't know what to take, and Sunfire is just very strong early game as well. So it is strong early game, but I like it a little bit later on in the game, but a decent option if you really don't know what to take, and can free you up to not build a Sunfire Cape, which is a very strong early game item. Okay, Trade Sector, gain a free shop refresh each round. Extremely strong, especially if you have a reroll angle, but also just really strong to push levels because you never have to roll. You never really have to roll at any point until the late game, and you can just create a strong board. So you can either reroll or you can just create a strong board. Very strong with Yordles as well, if you want to play Yordles. Okay, cool. Wise Spending, gain 2 experience points when you refresh your shop. Very strong if you're rerolling, so strong with Yordles, obviously. And very strong rerolling, and especially strong if you are rerolling 2 and 3 cost, because you can just kind of like play a weak early game. It's strong if you want to play weak early. You can play a weak early game and play weak early game, econ up, and then go to level 6 and just roll it down, make a strong level 6 board, and that'll naturally push you to 7. The reason why I say 2 and 3 cost reroll boards is because you can just sit there and keep rerolling, because you can reroll for 2 and 3 costs on both level 6 and level 7, and it takes you a while to get to level 8 by using this as rerolling. But if you actually use this to try to reroll one cost, if you're doing 1 and 2 costs, it can be a little bit more difficult, because when you're rolling on 4 or 5, you will just push levels into 6 if you roll. So just be careful with that, but it can be very strong early game. If you are willing to run a weak early game and then roll for that mid game comp, can be pretty good to take at the beginning of the game. It gives you a lot of direction. That's why it's strong early game. Woodland Charm. At the start of combat, your highest health champion creates a 1200 health copy of themselves, excluding the items. But it does go up with star level. Not the health, but they do get the star level bonus. Very strong, especially if you need a frontline. If you don't know what to take, that's a good one to take. Very strong. Okay, now we're on to the Prismatic tier, so the tier 3. Okay, first one we're going to be taking is Golden Ticket, it looks like. Where's this one at? Golden Ticket. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There it is. All right, Golden Ticket. Strong if you are rerolling. So each time your shop is refreshed, you have a 40% chance to gain a refresh. Extremely strong if you want to reroll 1 and 2 cost. So if you're willing to do that, very, very, very strong. If not, it is just strong throughout the game, but it will make you a little bit weaker early if you're not going to be utilizing it early game because you are down a Prismatic tier. But if you're willing to reroll, very, very, very strong. But you can also just utilize it to create a strong board by gaining extra gold by rerolling, right? So you reroll, gain a shop refresh. You also gain a free refresh every round. So it is very strong, especially strong if you're rerolling. But just know if you're taking this for econ, you are down a Prismatic board strength one, right? Cool. High roller. This is where you gain 2 loaded dice. I actually think you gain 3. This is subject to balance change, obviously. Very risky, but can be strong if you want to reroll. I've seen people take this and instantly have a 3-star 1 cost before they even had any PvP rounds. So if you want to reroll, a 1 cost can be very, very strong. It like instantly, and also is strong if you want to just kind of hold it and then reroll like a 2 or 3 cost. You can spike kind of early on in the game. So can be strong, but not necessarily one I really like to take that much, but I can see the angle where it can be strong. Okay, level up. When you buy experience points, gain 3 experience points, you can now reach level 10. Guys, you can just level so fast. Just play really aggressively with this. You can just climb levels. It will make your early game a little bit weakish, can make it weakish because you're pushing levels, but you just get to that level 8 threshold so fast. So it is pretty strong to take early on in the game if you're willing to play pretty aggressive but have kind of a weak board. Cool. Next one we're going to do is new recruit. This is where you gain 1 team size. So you have a tactician surround or a fawn, whatever you want to call it. Generally always good. It's not my favorite one to take, but it's generally always going to be good. Portable forge, open up an armory and choose 1 of 3 unique artifacts crafted by Ornn. This one is always going to be strong and can give you a good direction. It's not my favorite to take at the beginning of the game, but it is decently strong. You get a very, very, very strong item and can provide you really good direction for your rest of your game. So it can kind of tell you what kind of comps that you're going to be playing. So I like it for giving direction, and just overall, it's decently strong. Okay, Windfall. Windfall is the last one on here that I'm going to have. Gain gold based on the number of augments you currently have. So it's 20 gold at the beginning of the game, 25 mid game, and 30 late game. That's at least how it's balanced now. It's not the strongest econ trait, but if you're willing to play without a Prismatic tier and just econ up, so you're playing kind of a weaker early game and you're comfortable spiking mid game, can be very strong to take as your first augment. It's not my favorite, and usually I prefer some other stuff, but there's a really, really good angle for taking Windfall that can help you spike pretty early. All right, guys, that's gonna be it. I may have missed some of your favorite ones, but I just kind of went through and crafted a list of the ones that I have been preferring to take, at least as of the first week of the set. And I've been climbing, doing pretty well, have been having some strong early games. So I just wanted to get this out and share it with you guys. Anyways, if you guys like this and you guys like this educational content, then please like the video and comment below letting me know you made it this far in the video. I love reading that stuff. It injects dopamine right into my brain and my bloodstream. I really enjoy reading that stuff. As you can see, guys, I'm pushing through a migraine. I try to get through this fast. Kept it kind of monotone though. But if you want more of me and more entertainment stuff and educational stuff, you can ask me questions on my stream. I stream pretty much every day at twitch.tv/TrajanTFT. Once the set gets normalized, I usually stream about 5 days a week for 6 hours a day. So if you guys want to see me there, other places you can catch me is on Twitter. I post on Twitter every single day. If you guys want to see me there and see some Vegeta gifs and stuff like that, I post a lot of those every day. But anyways, other than that, I appreciate you guys, and I hope you guys have a great day, have a great night, and wherever you are, I hope you're doing well. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.